Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Today I'm hanging out with Kimbra. Kimbra has a RAM Promaster camper van that she had a partial build done on. She finished it up recently and today she's going to give us a tour. So join us.
Hi Patrick, thanks for having me. My name is Kimbra and I'm here today with my RAM Promaster 3500 Extended. This is a partial build that I had done by OGA Vans in Frederick, Maryland. I did have a trailer, we had a trailer, my husband and I and family, that we actually learned that it wasn't really the best fit for us, and this was kind of my next dream. I found this actually in New York City shortly after the pandemic, as nursing homes were really offloading a lot of their vans because their residents were locked in and they weren't using them. So stepping in just to go from the kitchen with the refrigerator here, we did go with an ice co. We've sat it here. It's right behind our passenger seat, which is a swivel seat that we can move around for an extra person to sit in if we need to. This is our dresser. Our large kind of kitchen cabinet, enough space for cooking and so forth. We do have actually a 2-level bed system because it was important to us to have a couch. So the upper twin is the 36-inch regular twin that I got from Amazon. With the same type of mattress down here, this is a 30-inch wide. So it's a little bit narrower to accommodate the space that I was working around to fit my countertop in. This is just a pedestal sink that I have put on. This used to be a record player holder. Now that you know the lay of the land, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of information about the detail. I am really into antiques and thrifting and things of that nature, so it was important to me to not use just your cookie cutter Lowe's type equipment or cabinetry, which is absolutely fine and wonderful, but in my case I was really searching for some just really neat pieces. This I found in a used furniture store. It was very different color, very different overall, and I refinished it to really match the color that I wanted to go with in the van. These are my cabinets. So I have we are not full-time, we are kind of weekenders at this point, so I have some just small cooking utensils. This is our little bath items here, and in here we have this is the cooktop that we use that we'll put right up here. It plugs in and go from there. In this other drawer, this is kind of a mismatch of whatever we need for our showers if we're walking anywhere, just our regular medicine cabinet items. This is actually a backup stove top. It's a gas stove in case something happened to the electric or we weren't on shore power at a campground. That's what we can plug in. I can also tell you that I've hooked these little latches on. They actually do prevent the doors from hopping open. I've attached these as well, but they don't work, so they are really for looks. As far as the dresser top that we use, this is a bunk bed type of base that I found on Marketplace that was really just drawers, and I took the 2 bottom drawers out to put my cassette toilet down here. This is just a piece of PVC that I wrapped with rope, and I can pull the toilet right out when I need it and then put it right back in. These are just regular dresser drawers that I have hooked with the same latches that I used on these drawers to prevent them from popping open. I wanted a shower if I needed a shower, as well as giving some privacy to the toilet if it wasn't just myself camping. So I bought this on Amazon, which you put out in the sun or you can heat it up to make it curl. And then I wrapped it around my ceiling so that if I'm using the restroom or showering or whomever is, they simply close the curtain around them and they can hook it back up. Interestingly, my shower, I've tested a few things out. I have a collapsible laundry basket that has no holes in it that I can put here, and then a flower waterer with a pump that I can set right here in that laundry basket. I hook it to this hook right here, and then my loofah hangs from this hook, and I'm able to just pump it a few times. I have the water pressure. This is around me, and it's actually a really nice shower that doesn't give me too much extra water. When I'm done, the dirty water just goes in my cassette toilet and I dump it at the dump station as I would the toilet. The paneling up top, this was something that was done by OGA. They did the cedar planks, they did the insulation, the puck lights across with the dimmer switch, which are not on right now. They did all this. It's really nice. Cedar, it does give you that cedar smell, which is always a perk. I do have 2 fans that are in the ceiling. So you get your typical push-pull, especially over the toilet and the shower as needed. So I can use that in the summertime. We did opt not to do the air conditioning. We were kind of juggling, do we want a heater, do we want the air conditioning, for a cost issue more than anything, I would say. So for privacy as well as insulation, I did hang this curtain right here. I can close it. I've put grommets in it that will hook onto my ceiling, so I can close this. It blocks out all light. It definitely has the thermal regulation in it to keep hot or cold up here. And then when I'm driving especially, or just want it out of the way, I can tuck it up here. I do have a tie back here, but I find it's just easier to put it up here. As far as the slider door to have privacy, this is a full window van because it was a shuttle. They are tinted windows, so I don't worry too much in the daytime, but at night people can see in, so I have made this is a double-backed type of shade, which I can put in. There's magnets that I have actually adhesive glued to the windows, and that it's upside down. And that can just pop in right here. I did have another way to hook these to the windows, but that didn't work so great, so I put the magnets there. As far as covering up the other windows, I really like the natural lighting in the van. However, I find that I've hung this curtain here, and I found that I don't usually raise it. I get plenty of light that comes in without that. This keeps the privacy factor for me, and then I can put Reflectix with fabric over top of it. So because it was a shuttle bus before I got to it, it does have a few quirks to it. For instance, over the cab, this is typically an area that folks can use for storage. However, in mine, it is a heating unit. I could have had this removed, but it was fairly expensive because it does have a lot of electrical components, so I've simply left it. I do have a little bit of storage back this way if I wanted to shove something in there, but ultimately it is another method of heating if the engine is running, and I find I have enough storage. I don't need too much more. So as far as back to the fridge goes, this is an Iceco, which is a very large refrigerator, and it does have the separate freezer should I need it. This is, I believe, the largest one they had. I basically built a box in the floor that I was going to put walls up and make it a very pretty box. However, I found it worked really well like this, and if I needed to remove it, I can do that as well. I can remove the entire fridge if I need more space to put an extra chair or something right here. The floor is made from a marine vinyl, which was done by OGA Vans. It wears really well. Water does not get through it. I can clean it, so I can sweep it. Moving on to the kitchen area, I just have a large pedestal sink that I got off Amazon, and underneath I actually used what was remaining from my shower rod. I put up here and made this curtain to slide. These are 5-gallon jerry cans that my water is hooked into. I have two methods of obtaining water. I do have a USB faucet that's slightly hidden by my windows that will go into here when this is filled with water, that will pull the water very quickly for coffee or water bottles. I have a secondary method, which I'll get to in just a second, which is more of a slow flow for brushing my teeth or washing my face, so I don't go through my water as quickly. Initially, something that's interesting, I started with a marine pump that was in my floor. You can see where it was here. I really just wasn't very fond of it, so I pulled it out and I went with this other method. I did do the USB faucet, which is kind of hidden right here and not terribly secure, but it does the job. And then I went with this. I found this vintage water cooler in an antique store, which I love. And as long as I vent it a little bit, water can come out of here fairly slowly and controlled, and I can easily turn it off. And then to hold it up there, I got this at a thrift store. It's a Buffalo. No clue what he is, but I added some dowel rods to the other side of him so he fits on my sink and he doesn't go anywhere. And this, of course, is stored elsewhere when I'm driving, and then it goes right here. To add a little bit of ambiance, I did find this in an antique store, and I secured kind of a USB powered light in here. And then I glued this onto it that I got at Ace Hardware for a couple bucks that I can just easily plug in and give me a little bit of ambiance. And I can secure it with these as I'm driving. These are actually small cabinetry pieces that I got at Hobby Lobby, and kind of brushed over them a little bit so they hopefully went a little bit better with my other cabinetry and countertop. I hung them up just to use for my soaps and my toothbrush, a few things that I need for my sink. I did not opt to go with the really large overhead cabinet simply because I really felt that kind of came in and didn't give it as much of an airy feel as I wanted. I didn't want it you know, I didn't want those to really impede in my space. I have a lot of lighting around the van, such as these magnetic LED lights, which I can turn on if I need different lights. Turn them on for you. They have a dimmer. They are located everywhere in the van. Moving on to the bedding area, I can tell you that when we had that camper, one thing I really detested was that it had a bed and it had a dinette with 90-degree seats, which are not comfortable if the rain is keeping you in your camper all day. So my main goal in building this layout was to have a couch. So this secondary twin bed for sleeping is mainly for couch reasons. So I can move these pillows around and definitely have space. And it's so comfortable. I can absolutely have space for definitely 2 people to sit, even a third, and it works out very well. Underneath here, as far as you noticed, we didn't see any cutlery earlier, and it's because I have this antique piece over here, which is kind of my junk drawer. My silverware and my cutlery is in this second drawer. There's a lot of storage under here, which I have in baskets, usually for my laptop or my blankets. And then right here in the middle is my Webasto heater, which is into my gas tank directly. OGA did put that heater in for me based on the layouts that I provided them on paper, which I had an idea and I really measured and said, put the box here, but it was really kind of a blind guess, and it really worked out well. It works perfectly to give me that storage and put the heater right where I need it. You may be wondering where I eat, why I chose a twin bed and things of that nature. I can actually show you if I sit down right here. I do have, it's a paint by number piece of wood that I painted and put on this kind of this countertop extender. So someone can sit here, put a laptop here, put their food there. As far as beds go, again, I did go with the twin bed up top and the double layer simply to give me that couch space rather than the full or queen. Mainly, I would say, because the question always was, how do you jump down? How do you get down? Especially if there's 2 people in the bed. I really didn't want the one person nearest the back door is climbing down and having an issue. It's a little bit easier in this case because all they have to do is hop down here and maybe step over me if my husband's up here. It's a lot easier. It's a better step down for him. This piece of decorative wood here, I actually found, this was an IKEA shelf that I found at the curb. It was trash. I broke it apart, whitewashed it, sanded it, and that is what I use just as a decorative piece to give it a little bit of, you know, a distinguished cut line there. For windows, it is a full window van. So, which none of these windows open, hence the 2 fans that I did place in here for ventilation. And I did go with Van Windows Direct for this back window. I had it put in, and that gives me a little extra ventilation that my fans can pull from. For more ventilation, should I need it, I can kick those back doors wide open. There's a bug screen there to keep out any mosquitoes or gnat, and that can be open, and we really like that as well. These curtains are the same block out and insulation curtains that I used up front, which I tie back when I need. And this strange little gadget is to hold my phone. It's a great I bought it from Amazon. It holds the phone, so I know where it's at night. I can watch Netflix. So you've seen most of the inside. We can step outside and look at things out there. Heading out there, I will show you this. This is my weapon wall, is what I call it, and people tend to get a kick out of it. I have my fire extinguisher. I have a mallet for my mat stakes if I put them out, which I could remove fairly easily for protection should I need it. This is a fairly large knife, which I don't keep hooked up, but it's locked in place by this. So I can pull it out fairly easily, but it won't budge as I'm driving. Protection. And then I hang numerous other things. I can hang towels from here. It's just a really great place, which wasn't finished by OGA. I wasn't aware that they wouldn't finish it, but I'm so thankful that they didn't. It's magnetic and I hook anything up to it, including my flashlight. So stepping outside, the first thing to note is my large running board that came with the van. I also have a pad here for when I step down, or it's really actually to protect my dog's paws so her nails don't get caught in the mesh. There are stickers here for my dog. She is a shepherd mix. She's not a working dog, but I did feel the need to place that this is a temperature controlled van to some degree, so that if I run into a store and someone sees her in the parking lot left in my van, they're not concerned and break my window. I did have an awning placed on here by OGA. I have 200 watts of solar panels up top in addition to those 2 fans. Don't mind the extra cord. Patrick's actually helping me out today because I let my battery run a bit too low. This is the bug screen that goes for my slider, my chair. When I spoke earlier about my shower, this is the porta shower that I use, which is normally a water shower, but I can easily hang this up on one of those hooks that I showed you and pump it a few times, and this does that. The second tub that I'm trying is this dog pool, so I can open that up, and that is what I use for my shower. I do have some leveling blocks in here if I need it. I have the DeWalt. This is to jump my van if needed. It's also what I use to check my tires, and if I get a flat or need some air, I utilize that. And I have my small toolbox. The van is charged by a plug-and-play system with this large blue Eddy. I believe it's the 200p. And again, it's Patrick's helping me out here to charge it a little bit. And of course, you can see right through my cab, so I can always, on a terrible day, I would always be able to actually go through here where my bed is and move it if I need, or I can reach things from underneath. I have my smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector, and my battery box. Initially, OGA thought I wanted the dinette set with the benches, so the box is maybe built a little strangely, but it's great for, I can still get in it for access. I actually use IKEA bed slats which are hooked into the walls, as well as their bedding system, which is the only thing holding my bed at all. It gives good ventilation, so I don't have to worry too much about mold. And I did use just some paracord, which is just to hold that together so it doesn't rattle or move on me. So over here is the window that I mentioned inside. I can open it pretty easily. Has that screen there. I get really good ventilation. It's right by the bed. One of the other kind of funky things that I'm very thankful for, in that it was a shuttle bus. A lot of the cargo vans that you find, they are just the metal and the white on the back. This one actually has this framed out, so it's a little bit nicer. I didn't have to cover it. And over here is my shore power outlet, so I can lift that up, easily plug in 30 amps. I use it all the time at campgrounds. It's really helpful. Thank you for joining me for the tour. I can give you a bit more information about the bill and the budget and so forth as well. So I purchased the van from that dealer in New York that had come from the nursing home for, I believe, $21,000 at the time. This van had 119,000 miles on it, which is a good deal of mileage. There were a few I could have chosen, and ultimately I chose this van because it had a really good service record that I felt I could trust. And thankfully it's been a joy so far. As far as the build went, originally I had wanted to do the entire build all by myself, which my husband was pretty much against. It was our deal that I would get the van and we would go with the partial build with OGA. We found them actually on the East Coast. I think the builders are much fewer and far between. I found OGA, spoke to them, and they were willing to do a partial build. I also had gone to them with a $20,000 budget, and they really worked really well with me in order to get that. So what they did is, like I said, they did the insulation, which is wool, the puck lights, all of these cedar planking that you see, the marine floor, the awning, the 2 fans, the solar, the heater. While I was waiting for the build to be completed, we then had all this furniture in our dining room, ultimately bringing it into the van when we got it back, adhered it to the flooring and the walls, and then began my touring of all the antique stores and thrift stores in the area in order to find the little things that I've then decorated it with. The window that I had mentioned was something that I bought off the internet. It came to me and I went to a local window repair shop who actually charged me, I believe, $150 to install it. That was fabulous. As far as total budget, so if that's $21 for the van, the Blue Eddy battery that I have was roughly $1,400. OGA was able to stick, I think we actually came out of that with about a $22,000 cost. They really worked hard to get me my 20, and I'll admit that the extra bit of money there were things that I ultimately then said that I wanted with the van. As far as everything else within the van, I would say I'm probably at about $55,000-$60,000 for everything in.
Thank you for taking the time today to give us a tour of your awesome creation. I love how open this space is. You know, it's not compartmented off. It's just one wide open room, and it's really functional. I like that you have the option for indoor shower. You got the toilet, you have solar, you have the battery system, and you can always do changes and tweaks down the road and upgrades as your travels continue.
Sure.
Now, you are a YouTuber. I follow you on YouTube, and you're starting to document some of your journeys. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about how they could follow your journeys?
Sure. I have just recently started filming my camping adventures. My YouTube channel is Coffee with Kimbra, Kimbra. I'm also on Instagram with a little bit of everything at the same name.
Well, awesome. Thanks for coming out today. We got some weather coming, and I'm glad we were able to get this tour in
Definitely.
before the temperature plummets. Have a safe trip home. Well, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.